Hello, everybody in Team USA. Those of you who are tuning in from Canada, those of you who are tuning in from around the world. I can see there's people tuning in from all over. I saw some Danish people on here. I saw quite a few people also in England. I am so excited for today. You know, we see the potential of what Encino can really do for you and your business, for me and my business. And you know, sometimes it's just finding some of those people that you really get inspired by and following them. Our speaker today went Crown in 1 year. Now, if you don't know what that is, if you've heard about the business, you might have heard two steps of the business. One was called Diamond and one was called Crown. Why do you want to be Crown? Well, three really good reasons. Number one, you get a $3,000 paycheck every Wednesday. Not bad. And you get $1,500 in monthly bonuses between the car and the phone bonuses. Also fantastic. And you get sent on a amazing 5-star vacation with a team of people that are building the business with so much. I mean, you want to be on that. I tell you, you really feel like a princess along the way. But you know, you see that and say, yeah, I'd like to be crowned. How long does it take, or how fast can you do it? Our speaker today has done it within 1 year, and we get to hear about how he did it, what he's doing, and it could be something so for helping you to get farther in your business. So get a piece of paper and pencil. You want to write down what he has to say. So welcome, Crown Dave Ives. Hi, Dave.
Carla, it's nice to see you, and good to see so many good faces on there that I recognize, and I see some names on here, of course, from across the pond, and it's a pleasure to be on. Of course, you and I had an opportunity to chat yesterday, and I immensely enjoyed our time getting to know you a little bit more yesterday.
You know, and it really is exciting to get to know each other as you're building the business. I was so inspired by you, Dave, just hearing that you've had a history in direct sales and that you kind of gave up on things, and yet you said, this is the company. I think it's really exciting for people to hear, why Encino? Why did you choose Encino?
I think two things was really important. It's more important than why did I choose Encino initially, but going back one step is I have been in the industry for a number of years. But in my very young manhood, I always call it manhood, as I thought I was becoming a man. I was only 21, and looking back now at 52 years young, I see how much of a boy I was. But you know, that was my first exposure to this direct selling kind of model, person to person, and moving goods and services. And I had a great time. I loved what I did. I enjoyed the personal growth. I enjoyed being in an environment where people lifted one another up. And I was with that company for about 6 years. And I learned a lot about when you want more out of life, sometimes you're going to have to be exposed and step out of the ranks called average. And so I knew back then that I wanted to impact people. I wanted to impact people from a health perspective and a wealth perspective. And I did okay with that company. And then I came out of the industry for 20 years. So my first company was my sort of breaking teeth. But through that whole period, and then the 20 years out of the wilderness, I call it, where I was in the real world, job and advertising and catering. And for those who are in America and Canada, a market, you'll know of Denny's. So Denny's is really pretty much what I bought in the United Kingdom. I was a chef by trade. And when I came back into the industry in 2013, I remember the reason I came back in was I never lost that sense of joy and fulfillment is when you saw others succeed and you played a part. And so when I came back in, I joined a wellness company because that was something really important to me. I was there for about 2 or 3 years. And John Maxwell always says, you know, everything rises and falls on leadership. And so I didn't see it being able to progress my development there. I didn't see the ability to make the impact I really wanted to make. And so I walked away from that company. And for the last 2, 3 years, I was looking for things that ticked all the boxes. Some ticked the boxes, some didn't. Maybe it was leadership, maybe it was product, but I never found anything that really ticked all the boxes. And for me, at a core level. And so Marco Passanante, who I believe you guys had speaking a couple of weeks ago, I met him about 3-4 years ago, and bless him, every 6 months he would ring me and say, "Are you ready to take a look?" And last year, I was in that position where I just couldn't find a place where I could authentically be me and be excited about, not only at 51 years young when I joined Encino last May, was I could be me, but I was surrounded by other people, regardless of their age. Marco Passanante, 37, Orion Sala, 44. They are significantly younger than me, but I was willing to be coached by them. And so Encino, one of the things they attracted me, not only their message, their product, but I believed that the culture where I could then engage with personal growth. And it took me back to my very first time in an industry where I had someone I could genuinely look up to, not from an ego perspective, but someone who generally knew what they were doing, they knew how to get there, and most importantly, they took the time to invest in my growth. And so that was one of the things that really attracted me back into Encino.
Oh, wow. Dave, I love, all the things you're saying. I mean, there's so many golden nuggets in there. Just the fact that, you had a whole bunch of things that you wanted ticked off on your boxes and you weren't looking at it. And yet Marco followed up with you. Did everybody hear that? He followed up with him every 6 months. I mean, it's part of the system, Marco. He was following that system. But, Encino really does have the whole package. The products, the leadership, the comp plan. There's so many things in there. But I really think one of the things that really you told me as we were talking, that the leadership of Encino, the founders of Encino made such an impact on you, and you knew that with them at the leadership level, you could build a really big business in this.
Well, Carla, I was blessed again when Marco finally got hold of me and got me to agree to take a look. I had the privilege of going and meeting Orion and Hilda at their home and sitting around their table and listening to their stories, seeing how they were interacting with their 4-year-old and 8-month-old child. And but still, I share this with people, though there was my sponsor, potential sponsor, because I hadn't got in yet. Marco was to my right, and I think his sponsor or someone in his support was to my left, and Orion and Hilda were in front of me, and the 4-year-old was running around, Gabriel was running around, and the 4-month-old baby. And yet they seem to be able to look after their children, have attention with other around the table. But when they spoke, they made you feel like they were speaking and you were the only person that was important in that moment. That's a skill. And it's not a skill for them to be able to tell me everything about Encino and why I should, but the conversation was, what did Dave want from Encino if he chose to join? And how could we help you? Now, we all hear that you've got to build a relationship to build a leader. And the reality is, what I've seen with Encino, that it's such a comfortable positioning to offer the wellness aspect, but have a real genuine heart to raise leaders. And that's what I think is missing in this industry. There's a lot of people making a lot of money fast, and they can make ranks and they can achieve a success story that social media is attracting, and we can get caught up in that. But there was no substance. And Encino's for the very first time in many years that I sat there confident that this wasn't about getting in. This was about somewhere where I could finish what I started.
Oh, we should put that on a plaque on the wall. I love that, Dave. It really is that heart. And anybody who's met Orion and Hilda knows that presence is something that we all should be learning as we go, because when you get interested in what the other person really wants and you can help meet that need, everything is possible. So Dave, people are probably wondering, you got in just about a year ago. It was a little over a year ago, but you went Crown in about a year. So How did you get started? A lot of people are wondering, what did you do? How did you get started? What were the action steps you took at the beginning?
Uh, it sounds cliche and it sounds repetitive. It sounds monotonous, but it was 4-4-10. The simplicity of, again, I've sat in front of many people's car in front of them, and they've always cast a great picture. We're going to be X, or in 3 years from now, we're going to be so, and we can all get caught up in that hysteria, and for the person who shares that with you, that's to them that they believe they're going to go somewhere. Very few have shown me where their intention is, but more importantly, how we can get there, the roadmap. And when Orion and Hilda just talk the simplicity of, get this done by this time, you'll be in a position of building the building block. I got that because I've been part of things before, traditionally and in this direct selling space, where the rewards were there, but they were really built on sand and not rock. And so when I actually sat around their table, when they showed me the simplicity of go get some subscriptions, go get a few partners, develop your subscriptions. Well, that to me was, as a chef, a Denny's chef. I owned a restaurant over here, but Denny's is the equivalent of what you would understand in the US. That was easy for me to understand. And I was dumb enough to go do it. Okay, and that's the thing. I think people, they try to go, okay, what you mean 4-4-10? No, but okay, Carla, thank you, but tell me, what do I really need to do? No, Dave, you really need to do 4-4-10. No, Carla, I get that, but what do I really need to do? 4-4-10.
Okay, you need to do 4-4-10. I know there's a lot of new partners out there and people that are watching to say, okay, I'm going to get started in this. So they're probably saying, okay, Dave, if everybody, what is 4-4-10? Explain the 4-4-10.
So as we know, and of course, if you're just joining to the Encino family, congratulations, welcome. The Encino family is expanding around the world. But 4-4-10 is really your first action steps, the things that, if you're going to go to university, if you're going to become a mechanic, if you're going to become a chef, the first thing I had to do as a chef was I had to invest in my set of knives. I could tell people I was a chef, but if I didn't have the utensils to peel the vegetables, I was just telling people I was a chef. I wasn't producing. And so 4-4-10 is really a building platform of 4 subscriptions. So go get people on the products. I love it in the United States. Go and get 4 subscribe and save product users. I love it. That Art Jonah has done an incredible with keeping the simplicity of, don't overwhelm yourself with thinking the big things. Just do the small things good, and do the small things good over and over again. So 4-4-10 is go get first your 4 subscriptions, and that can be one product consumed by 4 people. So there's your 4 subscriptions. Could be one customer on 4 products. You could even be a great customer to yourself as well. So get with the individual who brought you into the family, and they'll show you how to become what we call a smart bronze, 4 subscriptions. And the second way then is start franchising, start developing your team. So 4 subscriptions, and there's benefits for doing that, by the way, and they will tell you what the comp plan is. But then go and get 4 people on your team. Now, they could be your connections. They could be the connections of the person who's working with you. They could be the connections of maybe 1 or 2 that you've brought to the table and allowed your sponsor to present for you because you're new too. And so those 4 is 4 subscriptions, okay, 4 people on your team, and the 10 is adding another 6 subscriptions to the original 4, and do that within a time frame, 30 to 60 days. And the reason you're going to do that, forgive me, my dollar exchange rate, I don't know, but the United Kingdom, you're going to make around £600-700, so about $800-900 in your first 60, 70 days. But more importantly, what you've learned is the simplicity of our building block, 4-4-10. Or if you can master that and then teach that, and then have people learn that and teach that, that's where the customers and the volume comes from that building block of keeping it very simple. 4 subscriptions, 4 partners, 10 subscriptions in total.
I like it. Okay, so you learn, you do, you teach, you keep doing that. You focused on that at the start. You did it. You started doing it with your team and keep building that. I mean, it really does sound simple.
Well, I mean, people always come back to the number one franchise in the world. I won't mention them, but we all know it. We all know, particularly in the United Kingdom, I ask people, and I'm most definitely United States, you do love your outdoor cuisine in your backyards. But you know what? I know that I make a better tasting hamburger than the number one franchise in the world. But when you buy that franchise, that number one franchise in the world, you don't buy it because it's a great tasting hamburger. You buy it because there's a system that any 16-year-old can do. And so the 4410 is our system. So it doesn't matter if you're a demi chef to an orthodontist, to an architect, to an engineer. If you're humble enough to go, that's what I do mainstream, but I know nothing about this. Teach me what I do next. They're the ones who grow the fastest. Not the ones who go, do you understand? I'm an orthodontist. I spent 25 years looking at people's teeth. You may know all about teeth, but you don't know everything about 4410. So if we have a simple message, a simple system, and find the right people who, and why would we want to humble ourselves? Why would we want to engage and be coachable? Is when we've had a reality check that what we want out of life, we haven't been able to attain it, or we've attained some of those things, but we're scared of losing it. So we are in a position that we are open to change and we are open to opportunity. So if we just share Encino with people and not show them this could be a vehicle for Encino to be part of their life, to help them to achieve things that was missing in their life, otherwise they will look at it as just an opportunity. And when that opportunity becomes inconvenient, they'll park it because they don't see it big. I saw it big from the moment I got up from the table of Orion. So if you're going to hit the ground fast when you start your Encino business, it doesn't mean it consumes you. It doesn't mean you do this 100% of your time. It just means when you do it 100% the right way.
And it sounds like you're keeping it simple. So it's something absolutely everybody can do, as you said. So when you're saying you don't have to be consumed by it, you don't have to like do it all the time. You do it. So tell us, like, what is your routine? What have you been using your days doing? How much of your week? How much time did you put into working those basics?
Yeah, I mean, the basics are consistent. Once you learn the basics, initially, the basics in life, right? When you're losing weight, I've always struggled with losing weight, right? I know how to lose weight. I've just struggled with the basics consistently. We know whatever we do in life as a career, we know the basics, and most of us, and this is a sad reality, right? Most people say, well, I've been an X for 30 years, so I've got 30 years experience. Well, the truth is you may have been doing X for 30 years, but probably the biggest growth you had was the first 5 years. And then after that, you switched off and you just turned up and did what you already knew. So you may have been there 30 years. You didn't have 30 years experience. You had 5 years experience. Experience is when we grow. But if you just repeat what you've learned and not grow, that's 5 years experience, but you've done it 5 times over. And so I understood when I started again last year, my words to Marco Passanante was, what do I have to do next? And then he just drew it out. You've got to learn how to make as many calls as possible. And we say not consume us, but the reality at this rank now and at this level, it's what I do for a living. It's what I do. And it's no longer what I do for a living. I absolutely is passionate to impact as many people with what we do. And that is showing them how they can regain their health and actually build a financial blanket around their well-being. So if anything, God forbid, unforeseen happens like we've been living through the last 16 weeks, people are in a healthy and a financial position where they will be able to ride the storm. So my daily discipline is I connect with people, whether it be brand new, I follow up with people that are in my pipeline, and I serve my people that are on my team. And so I've got a 12 checklist where I work on 3 areas of my life. My mindset, my personal growth, my physicality, then my business development, and then my results. And I keep myself accountable. And that's the key in anything, whether it be this, sports, relationships, anything. It's who are we accountable to? Because we're all in business for ourselves, but I found out even in Encino, there's a lot of closet Encinoers. No one knows they're in it. They're not sharing in it consistently. They think they're doing it as something extra rather than making it become of what they do. Make it a natural thing. So every day I'm looking to expand my relationships, my connections. I'm looking to expand what I'm reading. I mean, Go Core is probably the best tool I've ever seen in my career. Every day, listen to one audio every day. That's my university. Turn your car into the University of Success. When you're driving, turn off Fox, turn off CBS or whatever you listen to in the United States, and put your own AUK in and listen to people that know more about the product than you, know more about how to contact than you, listen to people who know how to build teams better than you, and they're coming to you into your ears free of charge. And yet people don't value the support and tools that we have. So I'm very strong in my own discipline, and I try to lead as an example, because there's people I love really dearly that have greater ability, but they're just not consistent with their activity yet. And if they just got consistent, they will absolutely fly past many people who've been around Encino for years. So that's the exciting thing at Encino for me, Carla, was also is, yes, it's been around 15 years. Yes, it's been around 8 years with the balance oil, but no one's done the biggest thing with it yet. And that's our opportunity. The biggest builders, the biggest success, the greatest stories have not yet been created.
You know, that gets everybody excited. I can see all the smiles coming on there going, no, they're getting excited about that. So, so I can hear in your routine, you're reading, you're listening, you're working on the 4-4-10, you're being that example. I think some people are thinking, okay, if you got Crown in 1 year, did you work 24/7? You forgot everybody around you. You just, you know, went plowing ahead. Now, I know, since I've talked to you, I know a little bit about this, but I do know that you're working on balance and finding that, but you're also treating this like a business, not a hobby.
You know, I always share with people that if you can make full-time income on a part-time basis, you're going to invest around 10 or 15 hours a week. But as you know, and many people that know of me, I have been in the industry before. I've been in direct selling companies before. So I'd seen other people's lifestyles. I knew what was possible. I had experienced some success in the past, but I'd lost it. And so when I saw Encino, it wasn't that I needed convincing. I knew what this industry could do. I was just disillusioned with all the over promises and under deliveries from where I'd been before. And when I saw Orion was even better and greater than what Marco had edified it. Now, not I'm saying he was this larger than life character, though he is when he stands on chairs, as we all know, but as an individual, I'd never met, there's only one other person in my life that has mentored me that and you can ask Orion when you get to meet him eyeball to eyeball. I told Orion May 8th, 2019, I am ready to join Encino because you remind me of my very first mentor, who's my best. His heart, when Hilda and Orion sat there, there was this aura about them that you go, whether I do this or not, this couple are going somewhere. Where my life wasn't going anywhere. I may have acted like it, and there's a lot of people act like their lives are going somewhere, but this couple were going somewhere and impacting and taking people with them. And I went, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So yes, I came back and I went to work. Did I forget people? No, because it was me and my daughter. I'm a father of 4, and I got a 9-year-old daughter at home. So it's me and Logie. She's my shotgun. But she'll walk up behind me in a minute probably, and she'll go, is the camera on or is it muted? I mean, she'll ask before I even speak, because I got her, she's involved with this journey. Daddy's not working. Daddy's not working to her. Daddy's building. And if you can teach a child of 9 the difference between work and building, then we can set them up principles of, Daddy's investing now, sweetheart. He won't be like this all the time, but I think I will be. I think I will be, but the lifestyle will be better. We'll have PAs doing stuff for us. We'll have travel agents organizing the flights rather than I'm having to. So you decide what you want out of it. If you want to be a diamond in the next 3-6 months, carve out 10 or 15 hours a week in addition to watching baseball, American football. Carve out 10 or 15 hours a week and put a strategy to be a dime in the next 3-6 months. If your belief is to be a platinum, because that's as far as you can see, and make $800 to $1,200 extra a month, do that. $2,000 a month, do that. So my daughter's just come through the door and said, "Is the camera off?" And with a big smile on her face. So
that is so sweet. I love it. I love it. And what a great thing to be teaching your kids. I know a lot of people use, I've got kids and it's maybe an excuse, but use them as something you can teach your kids and build this. I love that basis of that. Dave, we were talking too about there's a difference between the different markets. When you got started, it was about the same time Art Jonak got started. So you've been following the American market and working in it. I'd love for you to tell people, what is your idea when you hear about the comp plan and what things are happening in the U.S.? I know you're going to smile at this because you're kind of looking at the U.S. You're like, okay, there's so many things. And I'm here in Florida right now, and you're kind of like, I think I like Florida. I might just go there.
Well, my dreams are always to live in America anyway. And so, but the sales director of the United Kingdom and my sponsor, Marco, said, you cannot go to America right now. The UK, we have to build. But I tell you, Carla, if the opportunity arose that I could lock my door to my home and get on a plane tomorrow and base myself in America, I'd do it. Why? I'm building in America anyway with Zoom. So I could build back into United Kingdom. Nothing would change because with this technology, we can build anywhere. But as regards to America, United Kingdom is the same, to be honest, and the world of Encino is the same. But the US, 200-300 million people, they need it. But with our skill set of being able to word this such a casual, it's very, art's verbiage, wording is so subtle, but it's driven. It's subtle, but that you can tell there's a professionalism and a sense of urgency behind it. Let's go out and get some subscribe and save product users, and you get 25, you're going to make $300 a month. And I'm going, $300 a month? We don't make that in United Kingdom because the comp plan's the same as regards to structure, but the US have additional revenues on their monthly repetitive retail customers. And so you go get 50 subscribe and save product users in the US, you're going to make $700. And I'm going, $700? We don't make, and there's almost a Encino jealousy of the US compared to United Kingdom. I want the US to blow that up and prove that model, and it's proven it because you're doing a great job there. I want it to be so successful that we can put pressure on the rest of the company and go, hey, we need to look at other markets and bring that in on our subscription models, because we are a customer-centric model. So I will be in America. My goal is to be living full-time in America within 24 months anyway. So I'm building here, building around the world. Well, my team's in about 17 countries right now. But the US and the UK has my heart. And my goal is to raise as many faith-filled leaders who understand in the UK and the United States that if we go out and put people's health as a priority, build the right relationship with them, and manage their expectation over the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months, it's not overnight, but in the next 2 to 3 years, they can totally reverse their health, and they can put themselves into a position of generation wealth.
That's another one of those things, generational wealth, because that's what we can build, helping so many people. I love everything you're saying. I know a lot of people are going to be taking a lot of notes, and some people are going to want to watch this one more time. But Dave, I've got one last question for you. So of all this that you're looking at with Encino, all of your experience with other companies and direct sales, with Encino, and everything you know so far, what excites you most about the future?
What excites me the most is for the first time when I started the career, I hoped I could be successful in it. I wanted to make a difference. And then I lost that. I still achieved the financial goals in some companies, but I never saw a way where the company and the infrastructure and the system could remove personalities and anybody could be successful here. And so, what excites me most about Encino is I don't need to look left or right anymore if there's a better deal. I can go to work. I don't have to look after much. Now, there's going to be other companies that come and go. And Marco, an incredible individual, as we know, he's on the call. I just saw him pop up something. I'll close with this line that Marco actually pulled on my heartstrings. He said, Dave, if you're going to go one more time, Encino is a safe place to build long term. That even gets me emotional thinking about that now. I'm only 52. I can see myself 75, 80. Paul Clayton's 70. So I know you guys are hanging out nearby in Melbourne where you guys are. So, but look at Paul. He's so young. 70's young, 80's young. I'm not ready to hang up my things at 65 like the conventional world. I want to go sharing 4-4-10. That's when my time's up, I better be in the middle of doing 4-4-10. Because if I'm doing that, I'm making a difference. And so I'm excited about this is something that we can pass on, pass down, because we have something that's real. We've got a customer base that's real. And we've got a company that wants to make the greatest impact. And I do believe without a shadow of a doubt, we'll be in the top 5 companies in the industry in the next 10 years. And we all have the opportunity to go. I remember when we just hit 100 million and now we're doing a 1.5, 2 billion a year. And that was only 120, was it 12 months? 120 months ago. It doesn't sound a long time when you put it in that time frame, does it? So 10 years from now, will you still be here? When you can tick yes, then it's time to roll up the sleeves and go to work and get good at 4-4-10.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I am so inspired by you, Dave. And everything that you've been saying is just really, reinforcing what we've known about Encino and where it's going. So rolling up the sleeves and getting to work. Thank you, Dave, for taking time out, for being on. That was absolutely amazing hearing from you. You're so inspiring.
Well, thank you for having us. And my gratitude obviously goes Mr. Art Jonix on there. Art's an incredible leader, as we all know, and you've got him at your fingertips. So, I tell people in the United States, as well as we got a team in the United States. I want to give Mimi a shout out. She's a trooper there in Wyoming doing a great job. But wherever you are, become the squeaky wheel to the corporate, become the squeaky wheel to your upline. And what I mean by that, make a noise, because the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Sometimes we think we're a pain in the rear end. I want more pain in the rear end from people who want it than I can help them. No one knows if you're a closet Encinoer saying, I'd like to be successful, but I haven't spoken to anyone. So, my goal in life is just to hopefully touch one a day, inspire one a day, and plug them into something that's real. And Encino is one of the realest companies I've ever been blessed to be part of. And thank you for having me on, Carla.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Dave. I know for everybody out there, let's all just give Dave a hello. I know for those of you that have your camera on, thank you so much, Dave. There's so much about Encino. I hope you were just as inspired about why Encino and, how to get started and what's most exciting about it, what those differences are. And when you can hear what other people are doing, can you be Crown in 1 year? Absolutely. So let's follow the recipe that Dave gave us and let's all work at being that Crown in 1 year. Thanks for being on, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Bye.
Take care, everybody. God bless.
Bye, everybody.